You're watching Capital City News, your connection to Salt Lake City government. I'm your host, Poonam Kumar. With winter and cold weather here, it's that time of year to start talking about air quality in Salt Lake City and what we can do to help. Our History Minute this week covers the USS Salt Lake City. But before we get into that, let's catch you up on some things you might have missed. Mayor Ralph Becker joined with leaders from around the world at the 21st United Nations Climate Change Conference this month in Paris. The climate conference is a crucial event with the goal of creating a legally binding and universal agreement to curb emissions to prevent catastrophic damage to the climate. Under Mayor Becker's leadership, Salt Lake City has joined the Compact of Mayors and the Mayor's National Climate Action Agenda, two national initiatives to push for bold climate action and showcase the innovative work being done in cities and communities across the country to combat climate change. The city has also set a community carbon reduction goal of 20% by 2020 and 80% by 2050. The Salt Lake City Mayor's Office of Diversity and Human Rights hosted the 2015 Human Rights Day celebration. The celebration commemorated December 10, 1948, when the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Human Rights Day is celebrated across the globe to raise awareness about local and international efforts to improve human rights for all individuals. This week, we're talking to Kate Lohnes, and she's going to tell us about the air quality in Salt Lake City and what we can do to fix it.
I'm Kate Lohnes, and I work for the Sustainability Division of Salt Lake City. I'm our communications manager and have worked on air quality here for the past about 6 years. Well, usually our air quality is wonderful here in Salt Lake City and across Utah. Our challenges really rest in the wintertime and on some summer days. Winter is one of our biggest challenges. Our weather pattern sets up, and after we have snow on the ground in the valley, we can get what's called a temperature inversion, and that basically puts a lid on top of the valley, traps pollution in. So really anything we're putting into the air when we have an inversion, we're stuck with until a storm comes through and cleans everything out. So that's our biggest challenge, and having this beautiful snow on the ground actually makes inversions worse. And so that can be a challenge for us. We're getting set up right now for an inversion. And that really happens after a storm when we get a high pressure system that moves in and have no more snow or storms on the horizon. It does come down to the individual choices that people are making. In terms of those larger impacts, there's really no silver bullet anymore. Industry has been regulated for a long time. The Department of Air Quality is continuing to work with industry to reduce their emissions. But really the largest chunk of that emissions pie that happens in the wintertime is transportation. And second is the emissions that are coming from our homes and our small businesses. And so something else that people can do with that household impact in mind is to just lower their thermostat 2 degrees. And that can have a positive impact on the emissions that are being produced from your home. People who want to learn more about what they can do and also what the city is doing, we're really taking a lot of steps to reduce our emissions on a municipal level. They can go to slcgreen.com and explore right from the homepage what the city's doing to tackle our air quality problems and what individuals can do to reduce their emissions and have a positive impact.
And now it's time for our History Minute.
First launched in 1921, the USS Salt Lake City was a Pensacola-class heavy cruiser in the United States Naval Fleet. On December 7, 1941, when the bombing at Pearl Harbor began, it was returning from Wake Island, escorting the USS Enterprise. The Salt Lake City and accompanying ships made it to Pearl Harbor by December 8th and began a mission to hunt submarines north of the Hawaiian Islands. For the rest of the war, the Salt Lake City was involved in many entanglements and even provided call fire for the Battle of Iwo Jima. The Salt Lake City would end up earning 11 battle stars for service during the war. Their final mission before deactivation was to give troops returning home from the war their ride home, which they called Magic Carpet Rides. After its deactivation, the USS Salt Lake City found new life as a target, sailing out to Bikini Atoll where it survived not one, but 2 atomic blasts as a test ship. She was eventually decommissioned and was eventually sunk as a target hull on May 25, 1948, 130 miles off the coast of Southern California.
That's the end of another episode of Capital City News, where we do our best to keep you in the know. Make sure you keep watching to stay up to date on the latest and greatest. For SLC TV, I'm Poonam Kumar.